Okinawa, Japan, known for its white sand beaches, turquoise waters, and rich cultural history. But tucked away between the resorts and tourist spots are places untouched by time. Places the locals whisper about, but rarely visit. This is the story of 5 college students who learned the hard way that not every island paradise is meant for camping. It was the summer of 2014. A group of college friends, Aiko, Rina, Daichi, Yudo, and Mika, decided to spend a long weekend exploring one of Okinawa's smaller islands. It was remote, quiet, and famous among backpackers for its clear night skies. The ferry ride over was cheerful, laughter, snacks, and music blasting from small speaker. They talked about snorkeling, grilling on the beach, and staying up late to watch the stars. But Aiko, the quietest in the group, had her doubts. Her grandmother had warned her about the Okinawan Islands. They carry old spirits, her grandmother had said. The soldiers who never left, the ancestors who guard their graves. Do not disturb them. Aiko laughed it off at the time, but as they set up camp near the edge of a dense forest, she couldn't shake the uneasy feeling crawling up her spine. That night, the group lit a bonfire. They grilled skewers, told ghost stories, and drank. Beyond the firelight, the forest loomed, black and silent except for the occasional rustle of leaves. Around midnight, Rina suggested they go exploring. There's supposed to be an old graveyard somewhere on the island, she said. Locals say it's haunted. Mika frowned. Why would you want to go to a graveyard in the middle of the night? Because it'll be fun, Rina grinned. Besides, what's the worst that could happen? Aiko's stomach nodded. She tried to object, but her friends were already grabbing flashlights and phones. Against her better judgment, she followed. The forest trail twisted uphill. Cicadas shrieked in the trees, and the air felt heavier the deeper they went. After about 20 minutes, they saw it. Rows of old stone tombs, half covered in moss. Small altars sat in front of them, with offerings long since rotted away. This is so creepy, Yudo whispered, pretending to shiver. Creepy but cool, Rina said, snapping pictures with her phone. Daichi laughed and called out into the darkness. Anyone home? The others chuckled, except Aiko. Her chest tightened as she noticed something strange. The air had gone still. The cicadas had stopped. Even the wind seemed to be holding its breath. Then she saw them. Figures. Dozens of them. At first she thought it was a trick of the moonlight. But no, they were there, moving between the graves. Pale faces. Thin bodies. All dressed in white kimonos. Her throat went dry. They looked like old people. Their skin sagged, their hair was long and gray, and their movements were stiff, unnatural, as if their joints didn't bend quite right. Do you guys see that? Aiko whispered. Her flashlight trembled as she pointed. The others turned, but in that instant the figures vanished. See what? Yudo asked, frowning. Aiko's lips quivered. The old people. There were old people in white kimonos, walking in the graveyard. Rina rolled her eyes. You're just spooked. But Aiko knew what she saw. They left the graveyard quickly after that, laughing it off to calm their nerves. But Aiko couldn't sleep. Even inside the tent, with the ocean breeze outside, she swore she heard shuffling footsteps around the campsite. The next morning, she told the others she wanted to leave early. Daichi teased her, calling her a scaredy cat. The group decided to stay the full weekend. By the second night, the air felt different, colder, heavier. That evening, their bonfire refused to stay lit, no matter how much wood they piled on. The smoke curled low, clinging to the ground like mist. And then came the chanting. Faint at first, like a low hum rolling out of the forest. Voices, dozens of them, speaking in a language Aiko couldn't fully understand. The words rose and fell rhythmically like an old ritual. Mika froze. Do you guys hear that? Finally, everyone did. The chanting grew louder, closer. It circled the campsite, though no one could see where it came from. Yudo grabbed a flashlight and pointed it toward the trees, but the beam illuminated nothing. And then, at the edge of the light, Aiko saw them again. The old people, white kimonos glowing faintly in the darkness. Their faces are blank. Their eyes are black. Dozens of them, watching silently. The group scattered, stumbling over coolers, tents, and beach chairs. Some ran toward the shoreline, others back toward the forest. Aiko's flashlight caught flashes of movement. The figures drifting closer, their feet not quite touching the ground. Their mouths moved in unison, whispering words that chilled her blood. She ran toward the beach, her lungs burning, sand kicking beneath her feet. Behind her, Rena cried out, a sharp, terrified scream that was cut off suddenly. Aiko turned, but Rena was gone. Only her phone lay on the sand, the screen cracked, still glowing faintly. By dawn, only 3 of them made it to the ferry dock: Aiko, Yudo, and Mika. Their clothes were torn, their faces pale, and their bodies trembling. Daichi and Rena never showed. When the ferry finally came, the captain frowned at the sight of them. "You shouldn't have camped there," he muttered. "That island is not for outsiders." Aiko begged him to explain, but he only shook his head. Later, Aiko learned the truth from her grandmother. The graveyard belonged to one of Okinawa's oldest villages, destroyed during the war. The villagers had been killed, but their bodies were never properly laid to rest. To this day, their spirits are said to wander the island, appearing as elderly figures in white, guardians of the graves. Those who see them are marked, and those who mock them never leave. Authorities searched the island for Daichi and Rena. No bodies were ever found. Their belongings remained scattered at the campsite: backpacks, clothes, and shoes. But of them, there was no trace. Aiko tried to move on. She switched universities, stopped talking about what happened, and avoided the ocean entirely. But at night, she still dreams. Dreams of old faces peering through her window. Dreams of whispers outside her door. Dreams of white kimonos swaying in the dark. And sometimes, she wakes to find sand on her bedroom floor. So, the next time you visit Okinawa, remember, not every island is meant for tourists. Some belong to the dead.